Imagine this. You're deep in the mineshafts below your Minecraft world. The familiar crunch of gravel underfoot. The distant drip of water echoing through the caverns. Your torchlight casting long shadows on the ancient stone when suddenly, a melody you've never heard before washes over you like a phantom breath. It's haunting, beautiful, utterly alien to everything you thought you knew about this game's soundtrack. Your pulse quickens. Where did that come from? How have you never encountered this before? This, my friends, is the magic of Minecraft's hidden gem secret tracks buried like glittering veins of diamond in the game's code or locked behind elusive triggers most players will never accidentally stumble upon. Today, we embark on a journey through the whispering archives of Minecraft's musical soul, unearthing melodies so rare, so overlooked, that hearing them feels like discovering a forgotten language written in notes instead of words. Picture yourself as an audio archaeologist, torch in hand, delving into the deepest recesses of the game's files, where alternate realities of familiar songs slumber in silence. Think of Aria Math, that ethereal piano piece that haunts the nether, but did you know there's an alternate version? Slower, more melancholic, that never made it into the final game? It lingers in the code like a ghostly echo, a fragmented dream of what could have been, unearthed only by those brave enough to data mine the game's secrets. Data mining, my friends, isn't just cold code dissection, it's a kind of digital divination. A way to listen to the whispers of the developers themselves, traces of their creative process frozen in ones and zeros. Imagine the shiver down your spine as you uncover unused biome themes. Melodies crafted for frozen tundras or fungal forests that never saw the light of day. Their frozen beauty preserved like insects in digital amber. But not all secrets require hacking the game's DNA. Some are hidden in plain sight, waiting for you to fulfill obscure, almost ritualistic conditions. Imagine surviving your 100th night in a world, battered but alive, and as dawn breaks, a delicate, mournful track begins to play, a reward for your endurance that feels like the game itself is sighing in relief alongside you. Picture stumbling into a rare, moss-covered ruin portal at the exact moment a storm rolls in. Thunder cracking the sky open, and through the rain's white noise, a trembling harp begins to play a track so rare it's like catching a glimpse of a cosmic deer vanishing into the trees. There are legends, too, whispered among the community, of hidden dimensions accessible without mods like the fabled moon. A place where gravity bends and the stars swirl too close, and the music there, oh. The music there is a lullaby spun from stardust and silence, a melody that tugs at something deep in your chest. These tracks aren't just background noise, they're emotional landmines. Their obscurity magnifies their power. When you discover them, it feels intensely personal, like the game is sharing a secret meant only for you. One player I spoke to described wandering a desert at midnight, lost in thought, when a cascading piano track began so unexpected that tears sprung to their eyes. They sat there for minutes, just listening. The empty dunes transformed into a cathedral of sound. Another spoke of building a cabin high in snowy peaks, only to have the wind carry a fragile, half-heard melody through the pines that made them feel utterly alone in the best possible way, like they'd found beauty in isolation. So how You ask, can you experience these hidden oral treasures for yourself? The path forks before you. Some tracks can be lured out through in-game pilgrimages, survive those 100 nights. Yes, but also seek out the rarest structures, venture into biomes at specific moon phases, or trigger raids under blood-red skies. The game is a puzzle box, and patience is your key. For the deeper cuts, the ones buried in the code, you'll need to don your digital archaeologist hat. Resource packs can be tweaked. Files gently coaxed into revealing their secrets, but tread carefully. Ethically, this isn't about breaking the game, it's about appreciating art left dormant, like uncovering sketches in the margins of a master painter's notebook. Always respect the boundaries, don't distribute rep files. Don't claim others' discoveries as your own. This is a communion, not a theft. As you listen to these hidden tracks, whether through careful exploration or careful file diving, let them transform how you see the game. That melancholy piano piece unused in the nether. It paints the lava seas in hues of loneliness you've never felt before. That chirping alien theme meant for a scrapped biome, it makes the overworld feel stranger, richer, like you're walking through a museum of abandoned ideas. Minecraft's music is a living thing, evolving with each update. And these forgotten tracks are its shadow self, a reminder that even in a world of infinite blocks, some truths only reveal themselves to those willing to dig deeper than the bedrock. So the next time you play, listen closely. That rustle of leaves might hide a melody waiting to be born. That distant howl of wind might be masking a requiem for worlds that never were. Minecraft's greatest secrets aren't in strongholds or in cities, they're etched into the air itself. In songs so rare, so fleeting, that finding them feels like catching moonlight in your hands. Now go, your adventure isn't just in the mountains or the mines anymore. It's in the silence between the notes, waiting for you to hit play. Imagine this, you're standing on the edge of a vast mushroom-covered island. Violet mycelium squishing softly beneath your boots. Towering red, capped fungi casting long shadows across a landscape untouched by hostile mobs, a quiet kingdom where even the wind seems to move differently. This is the Mushroom Fields biome, one of Minecraft's rarest gems. But what truly makes this place feel like stepping into another dimension isn't just the absence of creepers or the alien vegetation, it's the music. Soft, ethereal notes drift through the air like spores carried on a breeze. A haunting melody played on what sounds like a music box submerged in deep water. There's a loneliness here, a profound isolation that wraps around you like a thick fog. Yet somehow it doesn't feel oppressive, it feels sacred. As if you've stumbled upon a place the world forgot, and the soundtrack is its whispered secret. Rare biomes like this don't just exist in Minecraft's landscapes. They live in the spaces between their ambient tracks, in the carefully crafted emotional layers that make you pause, lower your pickaxe, and just listen. Now picture yourself venturing deeper into the crushing darkness below. The warm sunlight fades as you descend into a cavern, the only light coming from the flickering torch in your hand, casting jagged shadows on damp stone walls. Suddenly, the ambient score shifts. What begins as a low, rumbling drone, a sound that hums in your chest like the earth itself is breathing, gives way to sporadic metallic plings and distant echoes. as if water droplets are striking copper veins deep within the rock. These are the cave ambiances, introduced in later updates. A masterclass in auditory tension. There's a primal unease here, a weight to the silence broken only by skittering sounds that might be loose gravel or something else. But just when the underground starts to feel suffocating, a flicker of relief, a faint, melancholic piano melody emerges, fragile as a vein of glow lichen. It's a moment of unexpected beauty, a reminder that even in the most oppressive darkness, Minecraft's soundscape offers pockets of grace, like finding a single wildflower growing in a crack in the stone overhead. But what happens when night falls? Too often, players hear only the aggressive strings of the daytime track dissolving into the adrenaline, pumping dread of zombie groans and skeleton rattles. Yet for those brave enough or patient enough to find a safe vantage point, the night holds its own musical secrets. Climb to a hilltop in a flower forest as the stars blink awake, and you might catch the night theme, a shimmering cascade of harp notes, gentler than their daytime counterparts, intertwined with a mournful cello that seems to mirror the vastness of the blocky cosmos above. These nighttime tracks are the overlooked ghosts of Minecraft's audio landscape, often drowned out by the chaos of survival, but they carry unique magic, a softer, slower rhythm that turns familiar biomes into dreamlike reflections of themselves. In a desert at night, the usual haunting flute melodies give way to deep, resonant tones that echo like wind over dunes, evoking not loneliness, but ancient stillness, which brings us to the saddest truth. So much of this auditory artistry goes unheard. Players sprint through biomes, tunnel through caves with efficiency, barricade themselves against the night, and Minecraft's most delicate sonic brushstrokes get lost in the noise. But there's hope. Imagine adjusting your settings to prioritize ambient tracks, or installing a mod that lets these hidden scores breathe. Picture sound design walks where you wander without purpose, letting the music guide you through the frozen spires of ice peaks, where the wind howls with icy violins, or across the dense canopies of bamboo jungles, where ambient chirps and wooden percussion make the leaves themselves feel alive. Creators are already embracing this with Minecraft tourism videos, framing the game not as a challenge to conquer, but as a world to experience. Because these forgotten tracks aren't just background noise, they're fragments of soul composed to make you feel small in a vast, beautiful, melancholic world. So next time you log in, I challenge you, mute the mobs, lower the UI, and stand still. Let the mushroom field's lonely lullaby seep into your bones. Descend into the caves not for diamonds, but for those fleeting piano notes that rise like bubbles from the depths. Wait out the night on a cliff's edge, listening as the stars sing softer songs. Minecraft's rarest music isn't hidden in files or codes, it's hidden in our own habits, drowned out by the rush to build, fight, and win. But for those willing to slow down, to listen, the game reveals its deepest secret, that beneath its blocky surface lies a symphony of solitude, wonder, and unexpected grace, waiting, always waiting, in the spaces between the silence. The biomes may be forgotten, but their music remembers everything, the loneliness, the beauty. They ache of a world that breathes even when we're not there to hear it. Press play, close your eyes, and let yourself get lost. Just this once, in the sound of something forgotten finding its voice again. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine this. It's late at night, rain gently tapping against your window, and you're 8 years old again curled up under blankets with a flashlight. On the screen before you, pixelated blocky terrain stretches endlessly into darkness. Shadows pulling beneath oak trees, as those first haunting piano notes drift through your headphones, you're home, truly home, in the world of Minecraft. But what if I told you that iconic feeling? That marrow deep sense of wonder and melancholy doesn't just belong to official soundtracks. Beyond the familiar works of C418 lies an entire underground universe of musical creation where fans have become composers, where ordinary players transform their love for this game into breathtaking original symphonies that whisper forgotten lore to ancient builders and breathe life into untouched lands. Let's wander together through this hidden landscape where every note block placed in game ripples out into real world artistry. That first piano motif we all remember wasn't an ending but an invitation, a spark that ignited countless creative fires across bedrooms and basements worldwide. Picture a lone teenager hunched over a chipped laptop in 2011, salt, heavy sea winds drifting through their open window as they weave delicate ambient textures inspired by Minecraft's ocean monuments years before they even existed in the game. These dreamers didn't wait for Mojang to expand the soundtrack. They built their own musical dimensions. Platforms like SoundCloud became digital campfires where creators gathered to swap melodies like stories sparkling with nether quartz dust. Bandcamp pages transformed into gallery exhibits displaying sonic love letters scribbled in sheet music, a symphony imagining what forgotten civilizations beneath the deep dark might hum toward off loneliness, electro-folk ballads serenading wandering traders. Even blistering dark ambient drones capturing the suffocating weight of bedrock itself. Every whimsical chirp of a minecart track or distant gas rail in the original game became a seed that sprouted wild forests of interpretation in this fertile soil. Now our journey takes shape as we illuminate torchlight on specific artists who've etched their names into Minecraft's musical bedrock. Meet Nina Kuroshova, whose lilting piano nocturnes feel like finding an overgrown village library filled with books written in a language of raindrops. She'll confess in humble interviews how composing for imaginary biomes helps her process grief. After losing her father, each track transforming pain into something as enduring as obsidian. Then there's Elias Finch crafting glacial soundscapes from his tiny Copenhagen apartment, recording the creaks of old rowboats and layering them beneath crystalline arpeggios to soundtrack an expedition across frozen oceans he's dreamed of since childhood. Or nomadic composer Aidan Holloway, who's found sound experiments incorporate desert winds whizzing through Arizona canyons into sprawling desert temple suites, his nomadic lifestyle mirroring the wandering soul of Minecraft itself. These artists don't imitate, they converse with Minecraft's essence, like old friends finishing each other's sentences at 3 a.m. Just as fascinating as their albums are the stories blooming around communal projects where music becomes the heartbeat of collective myth-making. Remember logging onto your favorite server as dawn peeked through curtains and feeling that electric buzz of shared purpose? Some creators bottle that lightning. Imagine a machinima project called Asterisk Whispers from the overworld Asterisk. born from 6 strangers across 4 continents who met on a forum thread morning harebrained fan theories. Their resulting 30-minute film features an entirely original score where every character gets their own leitmotif woven through modular synths and echoing choir samples. The villain's theme literally reverses Minecraft's door-opening sound into something malevolent. Even sweeter are private server worlds holding annual festivals where composers battle by scattering note blocks across surreal landscapes. Their musical contraptions judged by moonlight as players dance atop floating islands. These ephemeral moments become legends, whispered between updates. Among these treasures, Asterisk Tales of the Overvoid Asterisk stands as a monolith. What began as a lone Brazilian student's passion project evolved into a 12-episode saga spanning 5 years. Its shifting musical identity reflecting both Minecraft's updates and the composer's journey through university and heartbreak. Early episodes use nostalgic music boxes clinking like skeleton bones in caves. Later chapters explode with thunderous taiko drums and eerie string quartets as characters confront cosmic roars. Fans still analyze leitmotifs hidden in the Overvoid score like archaeologists. A 3-note chime representing lost love recurs corrupted as whispering gas in the final battle theme. This isn't just background music, it's the narrative's soul crystallized into sound waves. So how do we honor these underground architects who gift our world with beauty asking nothing in return? Start small. Follow the playlist buried in a YouTuber's description. Let Nina Kuroshova's Dreaming Beneath the Bedrock album soundtrack your next mining session instead of shuffling familiar tracks. When you discover a composer whose music makes phantom biomes bloom behind your eyelids, toss a few coins on their Bandcamp. That coffee money keeps their creative furnace burning. Sharing is sacred, but credit their names like enchantments on diamond gear. Tag them when their track vibrates through your spine during a cliffside build. Imagine 20 years from now, when Minecraft's legacy isn't merely coded blocks, but this living tapestry of sounds. Future players might uncover your favorite composer's work as lost tapes brimming with the same mystique we feel. Hearing those first Dusty C for 18 tracks today. The beauty is this. As you listen to these fan-made masterpieces echoing through cavernous server hubs, their resonance binds us together as listeners and creators. Every original composition is a love letter not just to a game, but to the quiet kid we've all been. Sitting wide-eyed before infinite possibility. Fingers itching to create worlds where our hearts might hum forever in harmony with others. So next time night falls in your Minecraft world, mute familiar tunes and press play on something new by names you've never heard. Close your eyes as you stand atop a mountain pass. Listen. Somewhere out there, another player is also listening, hearing not just notes, but shared dreams shimmering like nether portals in the dark, connecting us all through sound. The blocky stars overhead bear witness. This is the real music of our community. And it's only just begun. Imagine standing at the edge of a pixelated forest as dusk settles. Over your blocky world, the familiar opening notes of Sweden begin to play. But something's different this time. The melody shimmers with the raw crackle of vinyl. A lazy jazz piano curls around the main theme like wood smoke, and the rhythm dips into that unmistakable lo-fi sway. where every beat feels like a sigh of recognition from your very bones. This is where the remix revolution begins, not with a rebellion against the classics we adore, but with 1,000 loving hands reaching across genres and generations to recast Minecraft's musical soul in breathtaking new forms. Picture yourself wandering this soundscape where nostalgia wears fresh colors, where hardstyle drops explode beneath the melancholy of mice on Venus, turning its delicate piano into thunderous waves of bass that rattle your chest. Or where the lonely beauty of subwoofer lullaby becomes a sweeping symphony with strings that pull at your heart as powerfully as stumbling upon your first diamond vein years ago. These tracks were our companions through endless nights digging and building. Now they're evolving, mutating, flourishing in gardens we never thought to plant. The magic pulses from genre-bending alchemists who treat the original compositions not as sacred texts, but as living clay. Close your eyes as a synthwave artist floods wet hands with neon glow. Suddenly you're not just hearing raindrops on leaves, but cruising through an 80s cybercity, where the glowing grid lines of the skyline mirror torchlit mine shafts. Feel the goosebumps rise when a folk musician picks out Hackstrom on a wobbling harmonium, layering in field recordings of real birdsong that blur the lines between woods and bytes. These creators understand that the power of Minecraft's music lies in its simplicity. It's a canvas sparse enough to invite reinvention, yet rich enough to make every drop of added color feel earned. An orchestra's crescendo during a Danny's Odyssey cover doesn't overshadow C418's original minimalism. It reveals hidden dimensions, like sunlight hitting a prism you didn't know was there. But true revolution demands risk. Takers, the sonic explorers who dismantle these beloved tracks bolt by bolt to assemble something gloriously unrecognizable. Picture a theremin player coaxing Clark's melody into eerie, warbling shapes that float like Enderman whispers, or a punk flutist shredding Stoll's cave, dripping rhythms into a breakneck ska anthem. The real lightning strikes with AI-driven experiments, controversial, mesmerizing, where machines trained on years of community remixes generate mutant offspring tracks that loop C418's motifs into dizzying fractal patterns. These versions polarize listeners. Some hear digital desecration, others hear ghostly choirs from Minecraft's future. Yet even the strangest creations carry echoes of the familiar single distorted note from Moog. Cities surfacing in an industrial noise collage can transport you back to your first frantic night fending off creepers under a half-built dirt hut. This revolution thrives on communion global collaborations, proving that no one owns these memories alone. Imagine a sprawling YouTube album where 50 musicians each rework 5-second slices of Italy into punk, salsa, Gregorian chant, and chiptune, then stitch them together into a dizzying quilt of reverence and rebellion. Witness the collective gasp as a Discord server's month-long effort drops. 80 artists spanning 6 continents transforming, beginning into an 18-minute epic that cycles through Mongolian throat singing, Irish fiddle reels, and beatbox percussion made from Minecraft sound effects. These group projects glow with chaotic warmth, digital campfires where strangers build towers of sound as elaborate as any in-game cathedral. The beauty lies in hearing the connections. A Japanese koto player's plucked interpretation of Minecraft's piano line weaving seamlessly into a Brazilian producer's bossa nova rework. proving how deeply these notes have rooted themselves across cultures. Curating these treasures becomes its own adventure rabbit hole of algorithms and whispered recommendations where TikTok's stitching feature births 30-second symphonies that lead you down branching paths to obscure SoundCloud wizards reworking Ballad of the Cats with typewriter percussion. YouTube Music's deep dive playlist might surprise you at 3 am with a throat. Sung rendition of Dryton by Siberian folk collective that resonates like ancient magic. Build your own sonic worlds. Craft a digging playlist anchored by gritty synth remixes of concrete halls though. T-pulse like a piston engine. A building playlist where ambient remixes of floating trees blow through your speakers like wind across scaffolded glass towers. A fighting playlist where drum and bass overhauls of the end turn dragon battles into heart-pounding dance floors. Every remix colors your gameplay, swap them like armor depending on whether you're farming pumpkins or spelunking lava caves. And as the music evolves, so does our relationship to this world we thought we knew. A low Fee Sweden remix tranquilizes your morning commute into a minecart ride through mist-draped hills. An orchestral alpha cover transforms rain tapping your bedroom window into the overture for epic in-game quests. These reinterpretations teach us that nostalgia isn't a static artifact, it's a verb, an act of perpetual rediscovery. The next time you log into your oldest survival world, try muting the original soundtrack and letting a flamenco EDM fusion of dry hands score your walk past the first house you ever built. Suddenly, those cobblestone walls vibrate with no energy. The memories feel both preserved and exhilaratingly alive. Minecraft's music was never just background, it was your oxygen. Now an entire universe of rebels and dreamers are giving you new ways to breathe. The revolution spins on press play and let it carry you. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast blocky world just after sunset, crickets chirping in the tall grass, wolves howling in the distant hills, your torch flickering against the encroaching darkness. The air hums with a quiet electricity, the kind that makes your skin prickle with the sense that something ancient and unseen moves just beyond the pixels. This is Minecraft as millions first knew it, but if you close your eyes and listen past the familiar creak of doors and splash of water, you might catch ghostly echoes of melodies that once painted these landscapes with raw emotion, only to vanish like footprints washed away by rain. These are the lost tracks, the abandoned compositions, the musical fossils buried deep within Minecraft's DNA, songs composed for realms that never were, for features that flickered and died in early development dreams. Wander with me through the forgotten corridors of Minecraft's audio evolution, where every discarded note tells a story of creative risks, unrealized ambitions, and the quiet tragedy of art left behind by progress. We begin in the primordial days when Minecraft wasn't yet a cultural titan, but a scrappy experimental digital sandbox where Notch and his small team were still figuring out what this game could be. Back then, the soundtrack was as raw and unpredictable as the terrain itself. Deep within alpha and beta versions nestled in code folders labeled music, you'd find atmospheric tracks like Clark and Danny, haunting piano pieces that felt less like songs and more like fragments of half-remembered dreams soaked through with loneliness. These early works by C418 weren't just background noise, they were the soul of the world, breathing life into every blocky horizon, giving weight to those long nights spent mining alone. But updates rolled in like relentless tides, and as Minecraft evolved, so too did its soundscape. By the time the full release dawned in 2011, roughly a third of these early tracks had quietly disappeared, left behind like abandoned mineshafts swallowed by the earth. Why? The answers are as elusive as Enderman. Some clashed with the brighter, more hopeful tone Minecraft grew into, others simply fell victim to the ruthless polish of a game outgrowing its indie roots. To hear these tracks today feels like unearthing cave paintings, a glimpse into a different future, one where Minecraft's ambience remains shrouded in melancholy mystery. But wander deeper into the archives and the whispers grow stranger, tracks composed for worlds that never saw daylight. Picture for a moment the sky dimension, a concept so tantalizing it's become legend among veteran players. Early developer tweets and patch notes teased a realm of floating islands suspended among endless clouds, a dreamlike space meant to replace the Nether before that fiery dimension claimed its throne. For this never-realized paradise, C418 crafted an eerie celestial track called Key. Close your eyes and let its drifting synths envelop you. It doesn't sound like triumph or adventure, but like floating untethered in an ocean of stars, an unnerving blend of awe and existential weight. This music wasn't just accompaniment, it was architecture defining the very air players would breathe, hinting at a Minecraft where exploration tilted toward the philosophical, where the goal wasn't to conquer, but to contemplate. Then, there's the phantom legacy of the Red Dragon, a fiery boss once planned to guard the end secrets. Buried in old game files sits a track titled Boss, an aggressive percussive storm of drums and discs. Torted synths so unlike anything in Minecraft's final score, it's startling. Where the end's eventual theme feels like cosmic sorrow, this unused track is pure adrenaline, a heartbeat accelerated by terror, the sound of wings beating the air into flame. Hearing it today feels like discovering blueprints for a different game entirely, one where Minecraft dared to be louder, fiercer, less meditative. These aren't just deleted files, they're musical prophecies of alternate realities, of paths not taken when Mojang's vision pivoted towards subtler storytelling. They resonate with the ache of unrealized potential, like finding love letters addressed to someone who never existed. So why do these compositions vanish into the digital ether? The reasons are as tangled as jungle vines. Sometimes practicality strangles creativity. Licensing tangles can bury tracks, especially as Minecraft changed hands from indie darling to Microsoft juggernaut. Imagine the legal labyrinth of identifying every contributor to decade-old sound tests. Creative pivots play a role to the shift from eerie isolation to communal creativity, demanded brighter soundscapes, leaving darker tracks feeling orphaned. But perhaps the deepest cut came with the quiet departure of C418, Minecraft's original sonic architect. His minimalist elegance, those piano notes echoing across lonely biomes, became synonymous with the game's soul. When new composers stepped in after 2018 like Lena Rain and Kumi Tanioka, they brought breathtaking talent. Rain's pick-step pulses with vibrant energy, Tanioka's nether themes burn with primal grandeur, but their work inevitably reflected new visions, leaving some early experiments feeling like artifacts from another dimension. Consider the fate of Tanioka's original Nether tracks composed for the Nether update's early iterations. These pieces brimmed with dissonant choirs and metallic clangs evoking a hellscape of industrial horror. But as development progressed, Mojang leaned into the Nether's fantastical potential, biomes dripping with warped forests and soulfire valleys. The music followed suit, trading nightmare soundscapes for orchestral grandeur, leaving those early metallic echoes lost to time, a reminder that even brilliance gets sacrificed when a game's heart shifts direction. Yet like vines cracking through ancient ruins, Minecraft's abandoned tracks won't stay buried. Passionate archivists ensure these melodies live on. On forums and fan sites, amateur historians pore over leaked alphas, painstakingly reconstructing timelines like paleontologists assembling dinosaur bones. Modders weave resurrection spells, creating mods like Leon's abandoned tracks, which stitch forgotten songs back into the game, letting players wander flower forests. Accompanied by the long-lost Flake, a delicate track removed in 2019, or sail oceans to the otherworldly hum of Inversion, a beta era jam to experimental for the final cut. These efforts aren't just nostalgia, they're acts of cultural preservation, ensuring future players understand Minecraft didn't spring fully formed into existence, but grew through iteration and abandonment. YouTube channels dedicated to lost media host meticulous analyses of ambient loops, from pre-classic versions, distorted snippets shorter than a breath, that nonetheless shaped Minecraft's earliest identity. These audio archaeologists know these tracks matter not just as curiosities, but as DNA, the raw creative impulses that birth the universe. Even Mojang itself occasionally winks at this history. Nether update snapshots briefly included Tanioka's scrap tracks, while the caves and cliffs experimental soundtrack recycled percussion from an abandoned 2012 dungeon theme, subtle acknowledgments that the past still murmurs beneath the surface. To play Minecraft today with these resurrected tracks is to experience temporal layers overlapping like sedimentary rock, the mournful groans of cut cave music underscoring modern archaeology sites. The ghostly waltz of wet hands, a track pared back post-beta drifting through bamboo jungles. These moments collapse time, making 5 years feel like 50, turning a game into a living museum. Ultimately, the story of Minecraft's lost music is a mirror reflecting the beauty and tragedy of all creative work, for every soaring symphony that makes it into our headphones. A dozen experiments fade into silence. These abandoned tracks are the shadow selves of the songs we know, the whispered what-ifs that linger in developers' minds long after updates drop. They remind us that Minecraft wasn't sculpted by divine hands, but crafted through sweat and doubt, through late nights wrestling with code and composition, through ideas bold enough to spark and fragile enough to shatter. When you next stand atop a mountain at dusk, listen beyond the wind and wolves beneath the familiar melodies, older rhythms thrum calling from dimensions unmade, from dragons unspawned from a game that could have been. These ghost tracks are more than data, they're artifacts of imagination, stardust from Minecraft's explosive birth, and the bittersweet proof that growing up means leaving things behind. So light a torch, cue up an old playlist, stand, wander the world not as it is but as it almost was. Who knows what forgotten harmonies you'll unearth? Close your eyes for a moment and listen, not to the familiar creak of opening chests or the distant call of a phantom, but to the hidden world beneath Minecraft's surface. A world woven not from blocks, but from ancient traditions carried across oceans and continents, echoing through digital landscapes in melodies that feel both foreign and hauntingly familiar. Today we wander through this unseen symphony, tracing the footsteps of forgotten instruments and ancestral rhythms that breathe life into Minecraft's most mysterious corners. Let's begin where the air itself seems to vibrate with secrets. The Nether. Can you hear it? That metallic shimmer dancing just beyond the hiss of lava lakes? Those aren't synthesized sounds at all but ghosts of Indonesian gamelan orchestras. Bronze keys struck centuries ago in temple courtyards now reborn in these burning chasms? Listen. Deeper, past the ambient drones. And you might catch the guttural tremble of Tibetan throat singing, a tradition where monks produce multiple pitches simultaneously, as if the earth itself is groaning through their vocal cords. C418 and Lena Rain didn't just create hellish soundscapes here. They bottled echoes from Himalayan mountaintops and Javanese ritual chambers, transforming crimson wastes into a sonic bridge between our world and realms of fire and shadow. Now shift your ears to the overworld's frozen edges. That mournful string sighing through snowy taigas carries the frostbite of Nordic winters in its vibrato. It's the shadow of a hardanger fiddle, Norway's national instrument adorned with resonant strings that hum beneath the played ones like ancestral spirits murmuring under the melody. Notice how the notes seem to curl like wood smoke. That slight bending of pitch mirrors shanos. The old style of Irish vocal tradition, where singers ornament melodies with fluid grace notes, as if the tune itself is thawing and refreezing in real time. Even the pillagers marching through birch forests bring their own musical pedigree. Their ominous horns evoke the Carnix. Ancient Celtic wore trumpets shaped like boar heads that voices and roared over battlefields too. Terrify Roman legions, those looping rhythms accompanying their raids. They're distant cousins to Scandinavian coning calls, high-pitched herding songs used by women to communicate across valleys, now twisted into something predatory and grim. Warm your bones now in desert sands, where the percussion tells another story entirely. That dry clatter beneath the main melody isn't just ambience. It's the ghost of West African talking drums sampled and scattered like sonic mirages. Did you spot it? The subtle click-click that surfaces in mesa biomes mirrors the gyro of Afro-Cuban traditions. A hollow gourd scraped with sticks to create rhythms that once guided dancers under Caribbean stars. Venture deeper into jungles, and the air thickens with a different pulse. What sounds like rain on broad leaves might actually be the repique and tambourine of Brazilian samba schools processed until the. You're almost botanical. While the occasional wooden plank high above could be a kalimba's metallic cousin, the African Mabira's metallic tines plucked into something alien yet comforting. Even the caves whisper with archaeological layers. Those metallic drips and resonant hums borrow from Andean wind instruments, like the Zampoga panpipes reimagined through digital prisms. And that deep rhythmic pulse you feel in your sternum? It's likely processed from field recordings of ceremonial frame drums used in Amazonic rituals centuries before this pixelated world existed. Here's the enchantment. None of these influences announce themselves outright. You won't find direct quotes of Thai pipit ensembles or Scottish pibroch lament in the soundtrack. Instead, Mojang's composers act as sonic alchemists, dissolving cultural artifacts into their essential elements, then crystallizing them into something entirely new yet spiritually resonant. It's musical pareidolia, like seeing faces in clouds, Our brains recognize the textures of our shared human heritage in these abstract soundscapes. Think of it as cultural pointillism, individual dots of Mongolian overtone singing or Persian center strikes that blur together into an emotional color no single tradition could produce alone. This abstraction is precisely what keeps the music respectful by focusing on timbre and texture rather than literal melodies. These tracks avoid appropriating sacred traditions while still honoring their essence. That distant flute curling through cherry groves. Let it pull you toward the shakuhachi's breathy meditations. Those plucked strings near rivers might have ancestors in the Middle Eastern oud or Chinese guqin. Tomorrow when you play, try this and mute all other sounds and wander each biome as an ethnomusicologist. In savanna, plateaus, listen for the gritty buzz that evokes the Australian didgeridoo's earthy drone. When rain starts over swamps, focus past the droplets to the pulsing background. Could those be remnants of Bulgarian women's choirs singing in hauntingly close harmonies? Build a small birch hut in an old-growth forest and sit perfectly still until the music cycles. Notice how the deep gongs summon Tibetan singing bowls' healing vibrations. Or how the sudden high chime mirrors Balinese Jengong bamboo jaw harps plunging in the night. There's no test here, no right answers, only the joy of hearing 7,000 years of human musical innovation folded into a game about placing blocks, reminding us that creativity is never created in isolation, but is rather the beautiful echo of everything our species has ever sung, drummed, or breathed into existence. Imagine stepping through a portal not of obsidian and flame, but of shimmering light and drifting clouds. Your feet touching down not on netherrack, but on floating islands cloaked in eternal sunset. This is the ether, a realm spun from pure imagination, where the very air seems to hum with choir-like harmonies, where melodies rise and fall like the gentle updrafts carrying you between celestial landmasses. This isn't just a new biome or a fresh set of blocks. It's an odyssey scored by music that lifts you out of the familiar crunch of gravel underfoot, the comforting planks of water in caverns, and into a symphony of wonder. The music here doesn't merely play in the background, it breathes. It swells as you glide over vast, empty expanses between islands, reminiscent of traversing the stars themselves, then softens to a whispering lullaby when you discover hidden shrines nestled among the clouds. Each note is a thread in the tapestry of this otherworldly dimension, telling you without words that you've left the overworld far behind, that you're somewhere sacred, suspended between myth and magic. This is the power of modern music, not just to accompany your journey, but to define it, to wrap you in an atmosphere so dense, so vivid, that hours melt away like fog under a rising sun. And the ether is only the beginning. Venture deeper into the shadows, into the twilight forest, where gnarled trees twist into impossible shapes under a perpetual violet sky, and the soundtrack shifts into something darker, richer, more mysterious. Here, the music slithers through the undergrowth like mist, punctuated by the distant calls of unknown creatures. Deep, resonant cellos underscore the tension as you navigate labyrinthine forests, their melodies intertwining with the patter of your footsteps, the rustle of leaves hiding unseen watchers. When you stumble upon an ancient, moss-covered dungeon, The music swells into something grand and ominous, a cascade of percussion and strings that transforms exploration into epic conquest. These compositions don't just enhance the vanilla Minecraft experience, they rewrite it entirely, turning every modded realm into a living storybook where sound is the narrator, guiding your emotions, warning of danger, celebrating discovery. But modded magic isn't confined to sprawling. Otherworldly dimensions, it thrives in the meticulously crafted stories of adventure maps, where custom scores elevate gameplay into cinematic grandeur. Picture yourself creeping through the crumbling halls of Herobrine's mansion, where every creak of a floorboard, every gust of wind through shattered windows, is underscored by a soundtrack that coils around your nerves like ivy. The music here is a character in itself, a phantom presence that tightens its grip when shadows flicker at the edge of your vision, that erupts into frenetic, dissonant chaos when Herobrine's spectral form materializes in a burst of static. This isn't background noise. It's a psychological landscape, a masterclass in tension and release that transforms blocks and pixels into genuine horror. Or consider the pulse-pounding thrills of the heist, an adventure map where stealth and strategy collide, set to a score that wouldn't feel out of place in a high-stakes spy thriller. As you sneak past laser grids and vault guards, the music thrums with electronic beats and hushed, percussive tension, every near miss accompanied by a staccato gasp of strings. When the heist reaches its crescendo, alarms blaring, treasure snatched, the soundtrack explodes into a triumphant fanfare, a musical exclamation point to your cunning victory. These maps aren't just played, they're felt. Their stories carved into memory by the blade of their soundtracks. Yet behind every sweeping melody and heart-tracing theme lies a labyrinth of technical artistry, a dance of code and creativity that allows modded music to breathe and react to your actions in real time. Imagine a boss battle in a mod like Bombcraft, where the music isn't a static loop but a living entity. At first, as you study the arcane runes and assemble your artifacts, the soundtrack hums with low, ambient drones, a sonic tapestry of preparation and latent power. But the moment you awaken the eldritch horror guarding the secrets you seek, the music shifts, drums hammer like a racing heartbeat, strings saw through the air like blades, and choir vocals rise in a cacophony of dread, all perfectly synced to the creature's monstrous roars and earth-shaking attacks. When you land a critical blow, the melody fractures into a moment of dissonance, a musical gasp before surging back with renewed fury. This dynamism isn't accidental, it's the result of painstaking systems that let the soundtrack listen to the game, tracking your health, your positioning, the phases of the battle, allowing the music to evolve with the drama unfolding on screen. Some mods even weave environmental storytelling into their scores, like the serene, flute-led melodies of biomes of plenty fading into melancholic piano notes when rain begins to fall, or the sudden, unsettling silence that blankets the world when you enter a blighted, corrupted biome in the Betweenlands, where even the music seems infected by decay. But how do you take these auditory wonders with you beyond the game? How do you let the Ether's choirs accompany your morning walk, or let the twilight forest haunting strings score your commute? The answer lies in the growing recognition of mod composers as legitimate artists, Creators who pour their souls into these soundscapes and deserve to be celebrated and compensated for their work. Many now release their mod soundtracks as standalone albums on platforms like Bandcamp, Spotify, and SoundCloud, transforming what was once hidden code within a .jar file into accessible art. Artists like Ennio Van Krieken, whose compositions for the INTO Eternal mod pack weave orchestral grandeur with electronic textures, or Darkosto, whose pulse-bounding scores for mod packs like Wocraft have become iconic, now have devoted followings eager to own their music legally and support their craft. Websites like Modrinth and official mod pages often host links to these albums, sometimes bundled with supporter packs that include high-quality downloads, behind-the-scenes commentary, and even sheet music for aspiring composers. And for those wary of accidental piracy, communities like the Minecraft forum and dedicated Discord servers offer curated lists of mod soundtracks available for purchase or free download with the creator's blessing. By seeking out these official channels, you're not just collecting music, you're joining a chorus of support that empowers these unsung maestros to keep dreaming, keep composing, keep transforming our blocky worlds into realms of pure auditory magic. So let the journey continue through crystalline skies and fungal forests, through heists and haunted mansions, through battles where every sword swing is met with a symphonic clash. Let your ears lead you where your pickaxe cannot, into the heart of modded magic, where music isn't just heard but lived. The unofficial worlds await, and their soundtracks are the keys to unlocking their deepest secrets. Press play and let the adventure begin anew. Imagine wandering through Minecraft's endless biomes, the gentle rustle of leaves, the distant moan of creepers, the soft piano notes drifting like wind through pixelated valleys. But now, picture a hidden dimension pulsing just beyond the game's borders. A vault of music you've never heard while building or mining. Soundtracks forged not for gameplay, but for moments of collective awe, adrenaline, and spectacle. This is the realm of cinematic soundscapes, unreleased orchestrations that have thundered through Minecraft Live announcements, electrified esports arenas, and reverberated through virtual concerts, leaving trails of sonic confetti in their wake. Tracks as fleeting as they are magnificent, echoing in memory long after their final notes fade. Close your eyes for a moment. Let's journey beyond the in-game jukebox, beyond C418's soothing melodies, into a world where Minecraft's music becomes something grander, wilder, and thrillingly transient, a symphony of moments designed not to loop, but to ignite asterisk. It begins with the trailers, those glittering portals into Minecraft's next chapter. Remember the electrifying crescendo as the Nether Update trailer unveiled crimson forests and swirling lava oceans. That musica haunting choir layered over pounding drums never made it into the game itself. These are the Phantom tracks. Compositions crafted exclusively to punctuate Mojang's grand announcements, each trailer a miniature epic scored like a blockbuster film. Orchestras swell as mountains rise in time-lapse. Strings tremble as the Warden's silhouette emerges from ancient cities. These pieces are cinema, designed to launch hype into the stratosphere, yet they vanish like morning mist. No official soundtrack release, no in-game portal to relive their grandeur. Fans have scoured files, begged in forums, concocted elaborate theories about secret discs. But the truth remains bittersweet. This music exists solely to elevate anticipation to make hearts race before the update even drops. And so, these trailer themes become ghost stories melodies half remembered from YouTube replays, looping in heads during late-night builds. Their absence a quiet ache for those who crave their return. But when the Minecraft Championship fires up, the soundtrack accelerates from epic to blistering. Picture neon-lit stadiums packed with roaring fans, leaderboards flashing, competitors' screens a blur of speed bridging and TNT explosions and pumping through it all, an original score designed not for contemplation, but for pure, unadulterated velocity. Forget the peaceful piano. Here, synth arpeggios spiral like fireworks. Drum lines hammer like redstone pistons on overdrive. Bass drops sync with clutch victories. These esports anthems are adrenaline in audio form, tailored for the split-second drama of tournament play. Each NCC event births a new Sonic Beast tracks with names like Victory Rush or Pixel Dynamo felt more than heard. Their rhythms syncing with viewers' racing pulses. Their Minecraft unshackled from its tranquility, proving the game's audio soul can thrive in chaos as beautifully as in command. Yet, once the champions hoist their crowns, these tracks evaporate. No Spotify playlist. No credits roll, just memories of beats that made thousands leap from their seats. Begging the question, why can't we run laps around our bases to this heart-pounding glory? Then came the experiments, the moments when Minecraft soundscape shattered expectations entirely. Think of the Nether Comes Alive virtual concert, where players materialized in a hellscape-turned dance floor, bathed in bioluminescent fog as warped fungi pulse to otherworldly beats. Here, the music wasn't background, it was the architecture drones mimicked gas cries. Ambient textures melted like blue ice, rhythms fractured and reformed like unstable nether portals. This wasn't just music, it was environmental storytelling, sound as a destructive creative force. Or consider those surreal Minicon live events, where crowd noise blurred with in-game audio, where real-world orchestras performed alongside avatar choirs, blurring boundaries between physical and digital. These were bold gambles, sonic playgrounds, where Mojang's composers asked, what if? What if a creeper's hiss became a bass drop? What if note blocks could conduct 100-player symphony? The answers lived only as long as the event streams wild, glorious mutations of Minecraft's audio DNA, burning bright before disappearing into the digital ether. Yet where corporations see ephemeral content, fans see treasure, and so arose the underground archivists, the audio archaeologists who refuse to let these sonic moments die. Hours after a Minecraft live stream concludes, Discord servers light up with frantic collaboration. Did anyone capture the trailer music before they took it down? Fans dissect video files frame by frame, stripping away commentary screams and sound effects like conservators restoring ancient frescoes. They trade spectral analysis tips, stitch together clips from 6 different Twitch VODs, and debate whether that warped high note was intentional artistry or a compression artifact. Anonymous heroes upload meticulously restored tracks to shadow YouTube channels with names like Vanished Minecraft Tracks, their descriptions pleading, "Download now, copyright could strike any minute." It's a digital resistance, a labor of love to combat the impermanence of live service culture, because for every official track released, there are 10 more lurking in the fog. The haunting menu theme from Minicon Earth 2018. The retro synthwave banger from a forgotten speedrunning contest. The mournful piano piece played once during a charity livestream and never heard again. These archivists become custodians of collective memory, ensuring that a teen discovering MCC 5 years late can still feel the goosebumps when that championship anthem drops. Their work is fragile, though a perpetual game of whack-a-mole with takedown notices, hard drives that fail, links that rot, yet they persist, driven by a conviction that even music meant to exist for a single day deserves immortality. So, we return to Minecraft's core paradox, a game about permanence, about building legacies block by block, yet so much of its soul lives in moments meant to vanish. The trailer music that fades like rainbow after rain. The tournament anthem swallowed by the next season's hype cycle. The concert soundscapes dissolving like echoes in a cave. But perhaps that's the magic, like real-world fireworks or cherry blossoms. Their beauty is inseparable from their transience. These soundscapes remind us that Minecraft isn't just a game. It's a cultural heartbeat, a shared story told through pixels, asterisk, and asterisk symphonies. So next time you watch a Minecraft trailer, close your eyes halfway. Let the orchestra pull you under. When you lurk in a tournament stream, turn the volume up until your ribs vibrate. And if you stumble upon a grainy upload of lost event music, listen closely. You're not just hearing notes, you're hearing ghosts of joy, artifacts of collective wonder, proof that even in a digital world, music can be a living, breathing, beautifully ephemeral thing. Press play one more time. Let it linger, let it disappear, and remember somewhere another unreachable track is being born, ready to ignite the next fleeting, magnificent moment in Minecraft's endless symphony.